I hope the stream will be running fine, as quality is starting to go underway. I'm just testing. Oh, I can already see it's lagging on stream. Suboptimal. Alright, time to turn the graphic settings down. I knew something had to go wrong. Quality broadcast, by the way. I can't go back. This game, no! Why won't it let me press escape? There it is. How is the stream now? Is it still lagging? Yes, it is. Alright, in that case, we shall try and fix this in a different way. How is it now? I think it's even worse. What about now? Oh my god, it just isn't working now, is it? I think it just really isn't working. Oh, now it is. That's interesting. So I won't be able to use what I wanted to use, because that just lags out the stream. But at least now the frame rate is good. So we are on board with WoW, who is on a lap at the moment. Oh, he already did a lap, I think, because he's on 50% TRS. Or did he just not turn it off in formation lap? That is curious. I think he's setting a lap time though. That's weird that he has low ERS. It's really funny. As Basco actually goes P1 at the moment with a 118.8. So he sets the first time, as Icewind goes with a 19.5, and then our gamer beats the pole time for 18.4. Of course, these apps are all bankers, so they won't mean anything for the end. Noble already jumping to a 17.8 in the Mercedes. Let's see what WoW can do, if he can beat that. Drivers, of course, setting their banker laps. Just going out the track, getting everything working, getting the car up to speed. And they'll start pushing a bit later on in the session, as we still have 40 minutes left, so plenty of time for them to set a lap. And Dom actually sets a 118.1 in the AlphaTauri. So not a bad banker at all. Let's see who else is on a lap. I think someone has spun off. Is that Blindevinkje? No, this is Alpine, I think. Oh no, could it be Beamer? It was Beamer who spun off in the fast chicane. Suboptimal for him. Of course, hasn't raced in a really long time, so we'll excuse all the spins. Who's on lap? I think Danny is on lap. Oh, Danny is on lap, but it is invalidated. Let's see how Mikander is doing. Mikander for purple sector 1. Let's go on board with him. Have a look as he is going down the very, very long now. I guess kind of back straight. It's not really a straight now, is it? But we'll call it a back straight. And into the fast game, braking at 50. Oh, that was hooked up really nicely. Purple sector 2 as well. Continuing on to sector 3. Braking just past 100. As he is actually flying. It looks like this is going to be a very good banker lap from him. Currently in P20, just last corner he has to make. Doesn't short shift to 5th, keeps it in 4th, onto the exit, and it will be a 17.4, currently on pole with 3/10. Mikander is. Now a lot of people on out laps, a lot of people on in laps. Most of the people in the pits though setting up for a second lap. Of course, now with the changes to the game, you can select different tire compounds, so not everyone has just 4 softs. And you can choose different layouts of tires. Let's see, I think the first car getting ready for a fast lap. Actually, that's Beamer going in. Who could that be? Could it be Blinde? It is, so let's go on board with him in the updated Mercedes. Of course, with the latest patch, we also got a few updates to the cars, making them look more realistic. Mikander's that bad lap. Still on pole for now, so there is probably stuff he can improve, but for now, it is good enough. And of course, it's a banker, so. As Blinde goes into the slow section now, I think it's turn 5. Getting blocked a little bit by the Aston Martin, not sure who that is. Does let him past. Lost probably a little bit of time, but still sets a purple sector 1. So he is currently fighting for pole. As right now gets a little bit of a slipstream from the Williams up ahead. Thank you very much. Going into the fast chicane now. Finishing up sector 2. Not cutting the curb as much as he would want to. In sector 3 he is now. Unfortunately, they still haven't fixed the spectator locking up bug when you're on the onboard camera, as he goes off track, but he keeps it somehow alive, doesn't get a track warning. Interesting from the game, but we will live with it. As Blinde goes over the line now with a 17.8, so he lost quite a lot of time in sector 2 and 3 compared to Mikander. What still puts him P6 just behind his teammate. Cruiser, I think on an in-lap, because I saw his light flashing at the back of the car. Let's see, I think his teammate is starting lap now, which is Meepo. A little bit of a squiggly exit out of turn 1. But he is zooming down to turn 3, braking at the black box. Keeps it in 4th here. Takes it very nice and clean, using all of the track that he can. Without getting a track limit. Now into the fast right-hander. Purple sector 1. A 10th up on his best time. On the back straight. I think there used to be DRS here, but they removed it. I think at the start game there was DRS. Where this track used to have 4 DRS sections. But just like in real life, they did remove it. 2/10 up now in sector 2. Not purple though. At least I didn't see if it was purple. Braking for sector 3. Stunning car as well, that Alfa Romeo is. I really like the paint and how reflective it is. Also using all of the track really on the limit. Locking up on our screen. Probably for him it was fine. Now onto the main straight. DRS open, flying towards the line. What will it be? It will be a 17.3. Goes up to P1, beating Mikander by a little bit more than half a tenth. Let's have a look. Is EMT on a lap? I think he is. Braking for the second to last corner in the Red Bull. Also the updated car with the black halo, but he decides to go in. Probably didn't think his lap was just good enough to finish. So he's gonna go in to the pits, reset, and go for another run. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. That's, I think, Danny. No, it isn't Danny. It's his teammate Yoda who is going slow. I think he's just letting all the cars behind past. Yes, he is. So it looks like is that he is on an in-lap and he's just not wanting to get into the way of other people. So now let's go on board with our last season winner, who is currently preparing himself for a lap. I should say our reigning champion. Invalidates on the formation lap. Or outlap, I should say, excuse me. In the McLaren like he was last season. Didn't McLaren also get changed? I think it did. I think they did some livery changes to it. But he is now setting himself up for his second run, I think this is. As he hasn't set a lap time yet. 7 minutes left in the session, so still plenty of time. As Danny is now starting his lap, going into turn 1, braking at 70-ish meters. Hooks it up really nicely. Now on the second straight, DRS open. Really using the most of the track again. As all of the drivers here do. You really have to maximize this track to get all of the little bits of time out of it. End of sector 1, what does he do? He goes purple with a 0.715. Onto the back straight he goes. Very, very long straight here. I will expect a little bit of overtaking here. As this is a very good overtaking spot. If you go up the inside, the car on the outside kinda has to back off into this fast chicane. Danny cutting the inside on both curbs a lot, but he has a bit of a snap onto the exit. Invalidates his run, so I'll just expect him to go back into the pits and only have the one run left. Suboptimal for him. Makander on another run, just starting his lap, really pushing the car, also using all of the track that he can. Let's see if he will be able to improve and if he will be able to beat Meepo. If he said it was a bad lap, you should be able to beat him, as he is a little bit down on his time. In sector 1, gets a slipstream from, I think that's the Alpine. Very nice slipstream, that will give him a tiny bit of time. As along the whole back straight, there's no DRS, so slipstream will give him some of the time. Now in sector 3, what will he be able to do? I think this is where he can improve the most. As these corners here can be really tricky, really using all the exit here. Very difficult corner that is now. It's much tighter than expected, but he invalidates the lap, extending just a tiny bit too much and the game not liking it at all. Let's see, who have we not been on board with? I think Andreas Loff, he is unfortunately on an invalid lap. So I don't think we've been on board with either of the Ferraris, but they seem to both be in the pits as well. Crystal, I think, is on the run. Nope, that is invalidated as well. A lot of invalidations, of course. This is a very easy track to invalidate. It's a straight circuit, of course, so you really have to push all the limits without going over them. I think this is one of the faster tracks on the calendar we have, especially now after the remodeling they did this year. I just want to see who will start the lap. Who is the Red Bull behind? I think that could be EMT. It is. He's also on invalid lap. Oh, who crashed? I think that was Icewind into turn 1. That's interesting. I wonder what happened there. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see it. Looks like he's gone... Or, sorry, not turn 1. That's turn 3. Looks like he's gone pretty much straight. Interesting. I think that is Blinde Vinkje, who's about to start his lap. Yes, he is. So I'm just going to leave you guys for a quiet lap, as I'm going to get something to drink because my throat is already really dry. and Blindefinky comes over the line to go to pole, beating Meepo by just 100th of a second. Currently on pole with 17.3 in the Mercedes. And Yoda got a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. I think that was on his teammate as well. That's interesting. F1 game moment. Let's see, who's on outlap about to start? Is that Davey? I think Davey's actually about to... Yeah, he is about to start, alright. So, with the Red Bull, Mr. One currently in P18 with a 1:18.6. Probably still can improve a lot on his time. Actually using a lot of the exit curb on turn 1. So it looks like the track limits on this track are not super strict. You can use a lot of the exit from what I see. Now this section is really bumpy, so it is kind of hard to go on throttle. Now onto the fast bit, back of the track. Of course, Albert Park Circuit. The circuit goes around the little pond in the middle. Davey now almost 2/10 up in the sector 3 split. Nobot retired from the session. I think that was a retirement off track. Probably can't improve on a lap time anymore. And so did Smelt. Smelt also retired, but I think that was in the pit lane. So Davey about to finish his lap. Let's see, how much will he be able to improve in sector 3? He was 2/10 up, a little bit of lag happening there, but I think it is fine as he improves by 3.5 tenths, jumps up to P15. So Meme, I think, also just finished his lap, or is he just starting his lap? I think he's going for a second lap. Or it might be a really fast in-lap. I'm not quite sure. As there has been a spin or an off. That was Basco in the fast hairpin. Or sorry, fast hairpin, fast chicane. Just outside of it. So he must have made a big mistake. Now let's go on board with Danny as he has still not set the lap time. Now going into sector 3. What will he be able to do? And how far up will he be able to go on the grid? Oh, extending too much and invalidating again. So Danny will be starting last. Our reigning champion starting last on the grid. That will be really interesting to see. Now I think WoW 125 is on a lap. It looks like he is indeed in the last sector now. Will he extend this? No, he won't. So he keeps it within track limits. Almost goes onto the grass on the entry to the second to last turn. Now in the Alpha Tauri, onto the main straight, DRS is open. Currently in P8, where he will jump to, we will see now, and he goes P2 with just 3 thousandths of a gap to Blindefinky in P1. Not quite what he would have wanted. So close to pole, yet so far. And I think Blindefinky will be our pole sitter with a 17.381. WoW, of course, really close to him, and Meepo as well. Meepo only just 15,000 or 14,000 actually off pole. McKenna being in P4 and Crystals rounding out our top 5. So we're just waiting on Beamer to get pushed into garage. There it is. And we will move on to the race. Of course, the race, due to F122 bugs, we will not have a formation lap. Just to avoid a little bit of bugs at the start. The drivers will still have warm tires, so that should not be a big issue. But let's have a look at incidents just for the FIA if it will be needed. And we will start the race session really soon. I wonder what strategies the drivers will go for, because I think if the meta is still the same, probably we will see a lot of drivers starting on hards going to medium. Maybe some drivers starting on medium going to hard, going for the alternative strategy. But we shall see once we are loaded in. Of course, the drivers now selecting their strategy. Maybe changing the pressures on their tires for the race. I know some people like to do that. Maybe even doing some front wing adjustment. You never know. Maybe people went for a higher front wing setup for qualifying just to have a little bit more turn in. And now are turning it down for the race. So they have the top line speed, which will help them in overtaking and not being overtaken. And we will start in just 20 seconds. Let me check if no one said anything on Discord. No. So, 10 seconds left, and we will be going. Alright, and lights are going out, and it's 5 lights, and away we go. It looks like Blindefink had a decent start, but Mekander had an even better one. Mekander all the way up to P2, Blindefink now going kind of defensive. Swoops out to the outside again, keeps P1, stays up in pole. I think Danny has made up quite a bit with positions. There is a yellow flag. I think EMT has had a little bit of off. Someone is diving down the inside. That is Samim standing down the inside. Someone getting pushed out to the grass. That is Copy, who is in P6. A lot of side-by-side action. That was Crystals getting pushed out, dropping down to 12 from 5th. Not the start he was looking for, I have to say. But the start was kind of clean. No one had a DNF, and there is a lot. They are so close together. A lot of side by side, a lot of wheel banging. We are just waiting for something to happen. Let's go on board with Love, who is behind it all. He is gonna witness this all go down. Fight for the midfield, fight for P6. So from the good points. And he's diving down the inside, making it almost free wide. Gets the move done, pushes Icewind out of it. I'm sure Icewind wouldn't be happy about that. He gets collected by, I think that was our gamer, and gets spun into the wall. Now, does he have damage? It doesn't look like it, but of course he might have a lime green as he is going into the pits. Mekander now leading the race. Didn't see the overtake, but he is now going into the pits. I assume this will be a retirement from Icewind. Maybe a wing change. But at the start, Mekander almost has a second lead, so he's almost out of that DRS window. Of course, Mekander being the SLR champion from last season, and Icewind DNF'd like we were expecting to happen. Very unfortunate for him, not the season opener he was looking for. Icewind already purple sector once. He is trying to get out of that DRS window, but Meepo of course won't let it happen. He will try to boost and stay in his DRS. Now more in the midfield, it looks like everyone is quite close together. Surprisingly, Danny is only in P16 with his teammate being in P12. So not the start he was planning to have. Let's have a look at the tires everyone's running. So Mekander and Meepo both on softs, with quite a good spread between medium and hard. Only 4 people on hards actually. I'm surprised to see that. Those people being Wow, No Build, EMT, Danico and Beamer, so it's actually 5 people I can't count apparently. The rest all on mediums. Mekander setting another fastest lap. Oh, someone has spun. I think that's Yoda. The other McLaren has spun off. I didn't see if that was quite on his own or if he got bumped off. That will be reviewed later by the FIA if there will be a protest for an incident. And I think Danico is getting past Joel now, flying past. And is now on the tail of the Red Bull of EMT. Let's see, is there anything else happening? Any close battling? The top 3 actually already pulled away quite a bit from WoW in P4. 2.5 second gap. But Blindevinkje is keeping up with the 2 cars on softs. So if he can stay within their DRS all the way until they stop, this could be very, very big for him. And I think Danny Cofield I should say, as his name is now about to overtake EMT in the Red Bull around the outside into the very slow corner. Oh, gets him before the braking zone. A little bit of a mistake, goes deep, as that is Andreas Love spun in front of him. ENT gets the move back on Danny. So not past him yet. DRS is enabled. So he will have the DRS here. A little bit of a snap on the exit. But I don't think he's going to be quite close enough. Let's have a look ahead and go on board with Samim, who is currently in the fight for P4. Of course on mediums, as well as Copy. Trying to get in front of Wow, who is on the slower hard tire. And he might be holding them up just a tiny bit. Go on board with Copy. Copy has... It looks like he does have a tiny bit more grip. Of course, the hards will last for a longer while than those mediums. As Danny got past EMT and is now on to hunt Andreas Love, as Andreas Love actually overtakes Basco on the back straight, what we were talking about in qualifying. Very good overtaking spot, because the person behind will now have dirty air into the fast chicane, which will lose him the drive onto this DRS straight. Oh, and there is side-by-side action in the second to last corner. Wow, fighting off Samim, and Copy actually got past Wow already. Oh, and that's someone in the wall. I think that's Smelt going into the wall, spinning out of the last corner. Suboptimal for him, not something you want to see. He does have wing damage, so that means he will have to make a stop for a wing change. Sector 1 yellow flag. There's someone else that's gone off. I think that's Wow that has gone off. Is it? I think it is. It is Wow that has gone off. Let's see, does he have front wing damage? Not that we can see. It looks like he went off with Samim, who's currently in P10. Lot of fighting going on back there. I think Wow not really trying to make it difficult for the people trying to pass him, as his tires will be overheated. And they will take a little bit of time to get back into that optimal temperature window. Now, it doesn't look like he has wing damage, so he might have been lucky with the incident. Samim, let's have a look if he'll have any wing damage. We will notice that in this fast chicane. As Andreas Love, the first one to get a penalty, 3 seconds for him. I don't think Samim has wing damage, so I think both of them got out unscathed, as this Crystal's looking down the inside for a move. Doesn't decide to go for it, just a tiny bit too far. Now Danico and Basco fighting for P8, so Danny moving his way back up the field and is now in the points. A little bit of a snap again. It looks like Danny's car is a bit snappy on throttle in Sector 3. As that was that coming out of the pits? I think that was Davey coming out of the pits. Was it? No, it wasn't. That was... Who was that? That's EMT that came out of the pits then, so he's already a lap down. Oh, a lot of stuff happening. I think that's Joel having an incident. Joel is off there, still fighting. 3 wide for just a second there. This is gonna be tight in the next corner. It's really quick. Joel decides to back off a tiny bit, let Meepo have the move. So Meepo already made a stop together with McKender for fresh medium, so those softs really don't last long, do they? Just 6 laps. McKender now already got past Joel. Of course, he will have a lot more grip than any of the cars on the field, together with Meepo. I expect them to fly right ahead as Joel's head off in the fast chicane. Now this corner will be one to look out for all the drivers, as it is the corner that where you really spin the easiest. Is there side by side between EMT and Basco? EMT making the move, getting past the Ferrari. Red Bull versus Ferrari, I wonder where we have seen this before. Now Basco will have the drive here because of the DRS. EMT does not have DRS, although Meepo is in front of him, so Meepo must have gotten in front of him just before the DRS detection zone. Meepo and McKenna flying across, and that's Joel retiring in the pit lane. Probably had damage, didn't want to continue, had to retire the car. Very unfortunate. Also not the season opener he was looking for. The reserve driver in the Haas finishing his race on lap 7. As Blinde Vinkje is now pushing on. He's currently leading by 5 seconds from Copy. So he will try and just keep the stars alive. Try still having a good pace. So he might be able to get an advantage during the later stages of the race. Of course, safety cars are a possibility. So you never know what will happen in the race. As a safety car could change everyone's strategy. And there is a lot of people being close. I think Mikander is setting up a move on Run Cruiser in the Alfa Romeo. Now I have to say, a lot of people this season have been hating the Williams, but in my opinion it's one of the better looking cars. Of course, the in-game version not having the Duracell sponsor on it. Oh, and Run Cruiser has spun off. That's a very unfortunate way to lose a position. Lose 3 positions actually. In dropping down to P13. Probably struggling a little bit on the tires. I'm not sure what the pit window is here, as Meepo gets a 3-second time penalty. One of the 4 drivers with a penalty now. Not what the drivers are looking for. But if everyone will get a penalty, of course it won't have that big of a difference in the end. But the race is still long, we still have 21 laps to go. And Crystal's also another person with a penalty, he's currently in P7. And Mikander is really approaching rapidly onto the car's head. You can really see the tire difference kicking in now. You would think 5 laps difference is really not that much, but the mediums do fall off quite quickly. So you do see that his grip difference is really kicking in and helping a lot, as he gained just more than half a second in Sector 3 alone. So he should have DRS here. No, he doesn't actually, so he wasn't quite within the second in the DRS detection, as there's a Sector 3 yellow flag. That's Yoda retiring in the pit lane. Wait, did he not retire in the pit lane? I think he might have crashed into the pit lane, as we have a full course safety car. I wonder... Oh yeah, that's not the pit lane, that's the wall on the main straight. So like I was saying, safety cars. Now we have the Aston Martin safety car. I wonder what the leader will do. Now this might be very profitable for people who have just stopped, such as WoW already on the mediums, together with Meepo and Mikander. Although, Tamim getting 3 seconds under the safety car, and Blinde Vinkje is going in. So I will expect most of the people to go in. Of course, double stacking could be a problem. And Blinde is going on to the hards. Yep, a lot of the people pitting. Basically everyone's stopping. Let's see, what will Copy go for? Probably also hards. I think most people that will stop are all gonna go on fresh hards. Besides people that are on hards, of course, such as No Wilt and Danny, who will have to go into the mediums as they have no second set of hards. And of course, in the F1 races you have to switch one set of tires to a different compound. So Mikander not boxing like we expected, but Meepo did pit. So Meepo and Mikander choosing different strategies. Meepo decided to go for the hards, going for the safer option. Whereas Mikander is staying out on mediums, possibly going for another set of softs at the end. Or he's gonna try and stretch them all the way to lap 29. Now, even though he has set 4 laps on those tires, he should still have more grip than the fresh hards. Of course, the hards take a bit to get up the temperature. But by that time, he should be able to gap a tiny bit to Blinde Vinkje in P1. As the safety car is still driving, I expect the safety car to be about 3 laps long, as there is quite a few cars some distance behind. I think Wow is the last car that has to catch up, and he is just entering Sector 2. Actually, safety car might be in next lap already, because I think Wow should be able to catch up to the safety car before it gets to the safety car line in Sector 3. So we should be technically going green this lap. Yep, and they are just catching up, so we should be going green right this lap. Let's have a look at the penalty. So everyone is on 3 seconds out of those who have a penalty. So we don't have double penalties yet. Now from the positions gained, Vikander gaining 2 positions. Blindevinkje of course started on pole, currently leading the race. Nobolt gained 8 positions, so he went from P12 all the way up to P4. Very good start for him. Of course, Danico starting last up to 7th. Or starting 19th, I should say, as his teammate had a grid penalty. So Danny up to 7th, 12 positions gained. And wow, 15 positions lost. Not what you want to happen to you in a race. But safety car is going in this lap. So we shall have a look at Blindevinkje as he is slowing the pack down, warming his tires, a little bit of interesting stuff going on in the back. Looks like people are not ready for it yet. Everyone weaving, with I think Samim being an exception. Blindevinkje of course on the hard tires. He has to really get them up to temp. He really has to get the temperature in the tires, otherwise he will lose a lot of time compared to Vikander. As you can see, Vikander not weaving, knowing his tires are warm enough. Let's go on board with him, as Blindevinkje is going into the last corner. And it looks like we are green. Will Vikander be close enough to already overtake this lap? It looks like he is gaining a lot in the straights. I don't think this straight will be his. He is not boosting. But there is a fight in the back. I think that's Nobolt going for a move on Copy. Copy trying to get the switchback. Wow now has a penalty as well. So that adds up to his race being suboptimal. But Copy losing a position to Nobolt. Of course Nobolt is on the fresher tires. And the... sorry, not fresher tires, the softer tires. So it is understandable that his tires are, or that he has extra grip compared to Copy. So look, is there any overtakes happening behind? Let's go on board with Danny as he is on the tail of Alexander Loff, or Andreas Loff, sorry, not Alexander, my bad. Going for a move down the outside, braking really late, but gets the move done. Gets past Alexander, Danny being on the softer tire, being on the mediums. I wonder how much percent his tires will be once he gets to the end of this race. Now, is Vikander close enough for a move? Yes, he is. He's currently side by side into turn 1 and he made the move stick and is past Blindevinkje. So like I said, mediums still holding their own against fresh hards. Now he does have to pull out of the DRS if he wants to keep the lead. Sector 1 yellow flag, that's Basco being off in turn 1. The Ferrari not having the best of days so far. In P17. Both Ferraris actually out of the points. Now last season, Ferrari scored 0 points the whole season. Will they be able to score at least one this season? That's what we want to know. Now we have Mcender in the Williams leading, with both the Mercedes in 2 and 3 respectively. Copy in P4, already as 1.8 seconds behind Noble, who's in P3. So it looks like those mediums are quite a bit faster. Or Copy is really struggling on the hards. Maybe not getting them properly up to temp. Now Danny goes a bit deep into the second last corner. Not the run he's looking for. Blindevinkino gets the penalty. This could be very, very bad for him if none of the other drivers get a penalty next to him. Or in front of him, I should say. Because even if he does make the overtake for P1, he still will get a 3-second penalty after a race. Now Danny is hunting for that P4. But it doesn't look like he's really gaining that much. Sector 1 yellow flag, that is EMT that was spun around. Both the Red Bulls also out of the points, so the in real life top 2 teams both out of the points. Now Samim just holding on to the DRS. Alexander, I keep saying Alexander, I'm sorry. Andreas Loff, P7 right behind our gamer. Has a bit of a better run through the chicane, but somehow our gamer has the better exit. Now Danico, as we could barely see, has passed Copy with the DRS assistance and is up to P4, but with a penalty. And a 3-second gap to the close car in front, being Noble in the Mercedes. So he has quite a bit of work to do to catch up to them. Now it looks like we have developed the top 3 and 2 smaller trains, or 2 bigger trains actually compared to the top 3. Behind them, a train fighting for P4 and a train fighting for P10, or P11 excuse me. EMT now for 3-second time penalty. Shouldn't affect him that much if he can keep Masco behind him. With a 3-second gap, that is. Now, the thing with this track is you would think overtaking should be quite easy because of the big straights we have here. But it can be quite difficult. Sector 1 to yellow flag, that is EMT. EMT having a little bit of an off and is now in a fight with Davey. Or sorry, not Davey, with Basco for the final position. Also, I am surprised that Meepo is only in P10. Meepo, of course, one of our stronger drivers. Seems like he's struggling with overtaking the cars ahead. Still, where he was at the safety car restart, at the back of the train. Also, it looks like the top 3 aren't really battling. It looks like they're all just chilling behind each other in that train, trying to just keep a solid gap to Danny. Although Danny has gained half a second so far on the train in front. Biggest question is, will he be able to make those tires last? Same with Mcender. How will the tires be towards the end of the race? Could it be a possible second pit stop for both of them? Now, if they will be lucky and they have to stop, maybe they will get a possible safety car. We are just over half the race distance, as EMT has had another off, from what it looks like. It doesn't look like he is having the greatest of races so far. All the way in last with a penalty, so unless Basco has a off or someone has off, EMT would have to put on some really good pace to get back into the points, as he has a little bit of a rear end funny in the fast chicane. And it doesn't look like there's a lot of overtaking going on. At least not what I can see. As I think that's Crystals that has lost the DRS on the rest of the train. So the field spread is starting to kick in a tiny bit. People are starting to spread apart. Of course, there is a little bit of pace difference throughout the grid. As Crystals gets a penalty, I think that's his second penalty. So this could be 6 seconds for him, as that is someone off. Who was that? That was Copy. Copy has made a big mistake and he lost a lot of positions. I don't know if that was a spin. Unfortunately, we don't have replays in this game, so we can't know what has happened. But he is missing a wing, so I can only assume something went wrong when he was fighting with another driver. So he's letting everyone pass now, trying to not be in the way. Still a few trains. Now our gamer defending from Andreas Loff. Doesn't have the DRS, so he has to use the battery to defend. Now Andreas Loff has the slipstream, has the DRS, goes down the inside, side by side into turn 4, in turn 5. But our gamer stays ahead. Keeps the position for now. Of course, both drivers have a penalty. And also, it looks like Noble went up to P2. Beamer now has a penalty as well. Currently in P12, in the Alpine. Kind of in no man's land together with Smelt. Both quite some distance away from the pack ahead. Well, pack, the 2 cars ahead, being Run Cruiser and WoW. Also our 2 ACC drivers. They are fighting for the points. Although Run Cruiser doesn't have a penalty, so he is currently in net P10. Actually, that might be net P9, as he might get Samim as well. Samim trying to desperately stay in the DRS of Meepo ahead. So Meepo is on the move now, getting some of the positions back. Has quite a good reserve on the overtake. So there is still possibilities for Meepo, as Danny actually gained quite a bit of time. He is now only 1.5 seconds away from Blendevinkie in P3 and only half a second away from being in the DRS. So he is obviously pushing the car, but I keep saying it, I wonder what the tires will be like, as Copy has had another off. No, that's not Copy, that has been Beamer that has spun. Not what we want to see from Beamer, also known as Timo, our ACC commentator. Currently in P13, outside of the points. Now really in no man's land. Quite far from the cars behind and in front, and EMT has had another off. Really not his race from what it looks like, as he is close to getting lapped by our leaders as well. And actually, I missed the overtake, but Nobuild's leading the race. So I think Makender's tire life is starting to kick in. So I think he might have to make another stop, and I think that Pasco did as well. And Beamer has retired. Beamer has went into the ball. He has unfortunately binned it. No safety car though. Also no VSC. There he is in the wall. Maybe was it in the wall or was it a manual retire? Can't quite tell. But also both Alpines outside of the points. Now this small pack here of 4 cars, they are all battling for P5. Before that top 5 finish, it looks like Meepo is having a little bit of a look to attack on Crystal, so let's go on board with him. Really close going into the chicane. But again, understeer. understeer because of the super fast corners and dirty air. Now, even though the regulations have made the racing better, the dirty air is still present. It still does affect the drivers. Now I think that is who's that in the pits? Is that Davey in the pits? No, that's EMT retiring the pits. Together with... who is that? Oh, that's McKender. McKender boxing for another set of mediums. Interesting that he went for mediums and not for softs. I feel like if he had fresh softs, he could have stretched them just a tiny bit towards the end. Sector 1 yellow. Is that Room Cruiser? I think that was a bit of a false yellow flag. Anyway, Meepo up to P6. Still in the train with Andreas Love and Crystals. During the session. Samim getting another penalty. I think that's also 6 seconds for him. It is. So we have Wow on 6 seconds, Samim on 6 seconds, Crystals on 6 seconds, and Danny on 6 seconds. See, for Danny, that's really, really suboptimal, as he is currently in P3. But if he overtakes Blinde Vinkje, he still has to gap him by 3 seconds unless Blinde makes a mistake and gets another penalty. As Danny goes into pits, going in sideways into the pits, so his tires are not making it to the end. Like I was kind of expecting, the medium tires just aren't quite enough. As Danny, compared to McKender, Danny is going onto the softs. So he is doing the opposite of what McKender did. Now there's 2 3-car trains ahead. Danny coming out behind McKender with quite a bit of a gap. I think Danny's entry, sideways Tokyo Drift entry into the pit lane, lost him quite a bit of time. Now let's have a look here at the fight for P6. There is 4 cars quite close to each other, all in the DRS train, and that is Wow having off. Didn't quite see what happened there. I think he might have been bumped off, or he had a bit of a snap. Now the Aston Martins are in P6 and 7, trying to pull each other ahead, trying to get Ron Cruiser out of the DRS, and we have Mercedes 1-2 at the moment. Something we're not used to seeing anymore this season, as Mercedes hasn't had the best of cars. But I wonder how No-Build is doing on his medium tire. If he has been able to conserve it, he might be able to make it to the end. It will be tight, but he might be able to do it. McKender now with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:20.151. He is currently in P10, able to get 1 point, but he is in the penalty window of Wow. Now, if McKender can stay in the position where he is looking at penalties, so without penalties, having a clean sheet, he will gain a lot of positions in the later stage of the race. Of course, we are entering the final 6 laps. Davey also has a penalty. Not like it will matter from what I can see. Oh no, it could matter, because Copy is right in front of him. So they are fighting for the final place in the grid. It does look like Copy is gaining quite a bit on him. Maybe Copy has the newer tire set. Could very well be the case. Now still, there is a train for P3 with 3 people fighting for it, that being Crystals, Andreas Love and Meepo. Danny now fastest lap 1:19.2, almost a second quicker than McKender. But McKender doesn't have the penalties. So Danny really has to only worry about not destroying his tires and catching the cars ahead, so he can maybe try and overtake them. With only a few laps left, Mercedes still running 1-2, and Crystal's keeping the gap at a solid 9 seconds. So unless something happens, it looks like the Mercedes cars have this in the bag. Now, commentator curse is a thing, so I might have just cursed it for them, but it's only for us to discover. Now there is a big old train on the fight for P6. A lot of people close together, with Danico and McKender on the freshest tires. Now if I was McKender and I would see that Danny is behind me on a fresher tire set and he would be quicker than me, I would not try and fight it that hard, especially because Danny does have the 6 seconds worth of penalties. But it looks like Danny is holding back just a tiny bit. Let's go on board with Wow in P9. Everyone is struggling quite a bit on the exit. And is that McKender going around the outside? Oh, he bumps Ron Cruiser. Ron Cruiser getting unfortunately tangled in the instant with McKender. Now I don't think McKender has any damage. He might have gotten away with this luckily, but he won't get away with the punt without a penalty from the FIA. I'm sure that will be a 5-second penalty added onto the race time, as it probably will be investigated. And Andreas Loft now going for the overtake around the outside of Crystals. And he gets to move on. It looks like Crystals didn't fight it too hard. Let him go, because he knows he has a lot of penalties under his belt. Now will Meepo try to strike on Crystals? I don't think he does. He is quite a way behind. Now Danny overtaking Samim. Samim dropping down to P8. And Danny going up to P7. So Danny almost at the front of this train. Is trying to go as hard as he can. And there is Meepo past Crystal. So Meepo up to P4 now. Blindevinkje actually took the lead from his teammate Nobot, as you can see there is a little bit of graining on Nobot's tires. Especially on the front left there is quite a bit of graining. So he will lose time due to tire wear now. Sector 3 yellow flag, copyright tank from the session. So we have 6 cars actually already retired. Very unfortunate for the people who are not able to finish the race. Unfortunate season opener for them, but the season is quite long, so they still have some time to catch up in the points. Now let's have a look at tire situation again. No build on 16 lap old mediums. I really think that will be tight for him and Wow as well, both on 16 lap old mediums. Those tires will be begging for forgiveness. Now let's have a look at McKender, who just boxed not so long ago for the fresh mediums, going for an overtake on our gamer now. Gets the move done. And on to the next one. Next one being Danny, quite a bit in front. Does still have the DRS, but won't have it on Danny. And he is 1.3 seconds ahead, so he's 3/10 out of the DRS window. Yeah, you can really see Noble really dropping off compared to his teammate now, also flashing, so he does not have much battery charge left. The only thing he is going to try to do now is stay within 3 seconds, as Blindevinkje does have a 3-second penalty. I think it's 3 seconds. It should be. Unless he's got an extra penalty, it is 3 seconds. Alexander Loff with a 6-second penalty, so Meepo will have overtaken him. And Crystals with the highest amount of penalties in the race, with 9 seconds. Oh, let's have a look. There is still the battle for P5, of course, but I don't think Meepo will try to do anything stupid. He knows he won't be able to catch the cars in P2, and he knows he has the penalty advantage on Andreas. As there's a yellow flag, that's Crystals. Having a spin. And spinning into the pit lane. And getting reset into the pit lane. So, suboptimal for him. Probably will go for the softs. Try to get the fastest lap at least. Nope, he doesn't. He retires the car. So 0 points for him. Also doesn't try to steal the fastest lap. And both the Aston Martins still driving in tandem. 7th and 8th. And both in the points. Of course, with only 13 cars left, there is only 3 cars out at the points, and both the Ferraris outside the points. Although it does look like Smelt will get the overtake on Woudon with penalties. Unless WoW really starts to push. Nope, WoW gets another penalty, so that is definitely over for him now, as he also has a spin. So unfortunately for WoW, this is not the race he was looking for. Having a lot of trouble throughout the whole race. Now Meepo overtake, possible overtake on Andreas, as he's really close. DRS is enabled for him. You can see Andreas almost out of DRS. Rear light is flashing, which means he has less than 10% battery. But Meepo not really hunting for it. Last lap of the race now. So it does look like No-Build will be able to make it stick on 19 lap old mediums. Factor 3 lap flag, not sure what that is for, might just be F1 thing. But let's have a look. I actually don't think Meepo will try to go for the overtake on track. Oh, actually he does. He sends it around the outside. Let's have a look at the outside. Oh, he has the move done before the corner, and I think he might also have DRS. No, Andreas Love has the DRS, but still won't be enough to get the move done. Let's have a look at the Aston Martins. I don't think they will overtake each other. They will just stay behind each other, weaving a little bit. And we have our race winner being Blindevinkje going over the line, with No-Build unfortunately dropping 6 seconds compared to his teammate due to tire wear. Still finishes P2 for a Mercedes 1-2. Meepo finishes P3, Alexander Love P4, Danny in P5, with Mekender jumping up to P3 because he had no penalties, like I said. If he was to be good on pace, he will gain a lot of positions. And there it is, him jumping up to P3. Danny jumping down to P6. Ruben, aka Ron Cruiser, in P7. Rgamer and Samim, both the Aston Martins respectively, P8 and P9. With Smelt rounding out our top 10. Which means Ferrari gets a point. Something they couldn't do last season, but they have done this season. So quite a interesting race. I'm really surprised No-Build made a stick on those mediums. I really am. It's a really long way for those tires. As we are just waiting for WoW to get past the finish line in the Alpha Tauri. Weaving, not the race he would have wanted, but that rounds out our race with only 13 drivers finishing out of the 20 that have started. Danico, driver of the day, starting last on the grid, finishing 6th. Now we are just waiting for the podium celebration. Here comes Blindevinkje walking up to the podium. Mercedes 1-2 getting the trophy, with Mekender being in P3. So here it is. We have a 1-2 for Mercedes with Mekender in P3, Meepo in P4, Andreas Loff in P5, Danico in P6, Ruben P7, Gamer in P8, Samim in P9, and Smelter rounding up the top 10. So Mercedes does have quite a good lead in the Constructor Championship, with them finishing 1-2, with it being a great points haul. Now let's have a look at the stops. Wow, with the most stops. Let's quickly go through the incidents, as we see we don't have much time. Will I make it? Yep, barely made it. Just in case the FIA needs some looks into the incidents, it has been recorded. So that has been the Australian GP. Hope to see you guys next week for the next race, that being Texas. So we're going to COTA in the United States. Yeah, hope to see you guys next week, and